Dude, listen, man, when you have a brand new series in Jump, include the aspects of adventure, the aspects of history, and the aspect of conspiracies all intertwining together. And why are we here? And then you have two very, very interesting main characters all introduced all in one chapter. I was sold from page one. I was sold from page one. Are you kidding me? Let me reread page one real fast, man. If you're reading this, before I read page one, when it comes to when I read something, there's normally two things that can happen. I'm either very, very entertained or I'm very inspired. You know, it's entertained in terms of, you know, I'm really enjoying what it is that's happening on screen, but it doesn't make me want to go out and write, or it doesn't make me want to, or it doesn't make me want to go out and you know, really talk about it. When I'm inspired by something, it means it either makes me really, really want to write or really maybe me want to talk about it. This series has me really inspired right now, man, but from the writing standpoint, because the techniques that the mangaka is using right here is a technique that I use in my own writing, and it's really cool to see it in manga form, where you know, she basically goes throughout this entire thing and says the title of my book is Noah's Notes. I love that. I love the transitioning to the title aspect of story it's something simple in the way that you either start or end a chapter. But even going back to Ava, like the importance of titles is really shown right here, man. I love it because I want to see more stuff like that. And it's already setting the bar high for my expectations for the series. But anyways, going back into the first page here. If you're reading this book, it probably means that the professor is no longer on this earth. That by itself right there leads me to believe that this is being told, you know, in the future. At this particular, and of course we know after we read the chapter that this is being told from some point in the future, except the thing is, and the reason why this beginning is so good and why it works is because we don't know on what point in the future it takes place. We know that apparently the professor is no longer on this earth. But the thing is, there's a 4-year time period between 2018 and 2022, and I'll get back to that later. Let me finish this. You think Charlie's stories are boring. Fair enough, I used to think that too. And with that being said, that means that with all of the stuff that Kotobiki was already going through in this chapter, where we started seeing a little bit of that interest in history, it will be fulfilled by the end, already showing us that this adventure will have an end goal. But the thing is that even though it's showing us one character's journey and how it's going to end, or not necessarily how it's going to end, but that certain part of her, which we already know is going to happen because it's a story. You know, if you introduce a certain plot point right now, naturally we're going to get to that certain position. And this entire chapter was based around her and her hatred for history, and how the professor was going to make her love history. And you know, after you go on this trip with me, you're going to end up loving this. I love that concept, man. Taking somebody that really, really hates this and, you know, going on an adventure with them and showing them the histories, or showing them that not even just history, but anything is not just what it is. Like, for example, I always talk to people that say that they dislike reading, but I'm like, but you spend a lot of your time on social media, right? You read all that stuff on Twitter, you spend your time on Facebook and you read those long posts, or you spend your time reading magazines, or whatever the case may be. That's still reading. Like, reading doesn't have to be just reading books, or if that's not your thing, or, you know, going out. Like, people think of reading as like this bad thing, but reading could be something amazing. It's the same thing with anything else. You know, going back to what they were saying with history. That's so factual. What he was dropping down in, like, the history of people. It's not just the history of it's not just ancient stuff. It's the history of you, the history of me. You know, everything is history. I'm like, you understand, bro. So anyways, obviously I'm very excited about this topic. So then we go. So getting back to that. That already shows that by this point where she's writing this, she will have met that plot point, or that part in her character development where she comes to truly enjoy history, because she says that it's no longer just a scholarly thing. It's something that she enjoys. But the reason why it works so well is because we do not know what happens to the professor. We don't even know what year this is in. This could be in 2020. You know, 2 years before 2022. We don't know. We don't know when this is being written, you know? So then this is right here, and this is my favorite part of this entire thing. This tale's all about the cryptic history behind unexplored realms and hidden treasures. The truth about this world of ours. Conspiracy. And the long adventure shared by the professor and me. The title of this book is Noah's Notes. That by itself made me want to go on this adventure with them. That first page by itself made me want to go on the entire adventure with them. Why? Especially after going back here. And actually, before I get into the stuff that happened in the middle of the chapter, let me go into the end of the chapter real fast. Right here. She continues writing, "Indeed, this was no ordinary adventure. To save humanity in the future, we would dive into the past. This would become a long adventure shared by the professor and me." Man, dude, but I love this so much because not only is it a very interesting concept, but the two characters are very, very interesting characters. I love the concept of taking this girl directly out of high school. And a girl that I'm pretty sure is in a similar situation as a bunch of not even just other females, but other males as well. Like, a lot of people really have that one subject that they despised back in school. For me, it was math. I despised math. And you have this girl who really, really does not like history. I love the first initial sequence, and I had to take off the jacket, man. It was burning. I was too hyped to keep that jacket on, man. But I love the first initial meeting between the two because it just shows us as viewers that this isn't just gonna be one of those, you know, these two got together because they were meant to be together or whatever the case may be. He gets in there and straight up kidnaps her, man. Straight up. Gets her, kidnaps her, and says, You got what I need, son? You got what I need? And I love it because she's already afraid of him. She's like, oh, just, you know, like, don't kill me. But at the same time, she's not completely afraid of the dude. She's just afraid because anybody would be afraid in that situation. You know, having a gun to your head and he's over here trying to kidnap you. You don't know where you're going. So it was really, really cool because then you get his introduction. He looks really awesome. And this man is Professor Noah Minami Umberbach, an archaeologist who travels across the globe unraveling history's mysteries. And then her response is perfect. Archaeologist? Like an academic? You're not terrorists? Yeah, an academic. What makes you think otherwise? What makes you think otherwise? Like, to him, this is normal. Of course he's an archaeologist. The coolest job in the world, you know? I thought that was really cool because it just goes against everything that she had been thinking was all history. History was all boring to her, which is, I'm pretty sure, what a lot of other people who are reading this for the first time, let's just say if you're in middle school or in high school, and you really don't like history, you can relate to that. And I love that, man. I love that. I really, really do. One of history's greatest discoveries. Did he stutter? He's like, did he stutter? Yo, well, I got it up there. So then we continue on. I'm really, really loving the interactions between them already because it's just it's like the perfect mesh of character right there. So let me go back. She thinks that everything in history is garbage, and that he fawns over history, man. And the same way that Jiraiya would to a woman, he's fawning over this piece of history, man. It's like my baby. And it's amazing, man. It goes right here, and then this part right here really, really got me because I did not expect this. So he goes right in here, and he says that this thing was manufactured in 2022 AD. And then I was like, what? So then, to her, she tells us it's 2018, which means it's taking place in current time. And then he says, this here's a fossil from the future. And then that's when I was like, wait, I'm confused. So then we continue on. This is just intrigue. This is how you build intrigue. By having something take place, something we can relate to, and then introducing something that'll be like, wait, what? How is that possible? How does somebody leave something like that from behind from the future? You just already start thinking of stuff in your head. You start pulling a Detective Conan, trying to solve the mystery in your head, man, trying to fill in the blanks. And you're like, wait, hold on, this doesn't make any sense. And then you continue reading. And you go, we call these future relics notes. And I said, archaeologists, I made them my specialty. And then he drops the bombshell, bro. He drops the bombshell. Let me see if it's around here. Let me see. Oh, I love this part right here. Get ready for an adventure seminar on the mysteries of the world, because you would never expect something like that, especially if you hate history. Where is the? Oh, this part right here was really cool too. whenever they pass by something that she says that she runs by every single day. But in actuality, because you know that you've been in the situation where you walk by this area that is apparently like under construction, or this like area that you can't bypass, but you don't really know what's going on back there. You don't know what's going on below a building or any of that stuff. So whenever you have something like this, then you have the dude be like, oh yeah, you're with the society, aren't you? Go ahead. And then they go into this, and this is big cave on some Stranger Things stuff. And you're like, okay, I can rock with this. I live with this, man. Because I feel the same way. And then it's just so cool because then the door slams and just like everyday life returns to normal in the same way that it would to us, man. I love stuff like that. So then we continue. And it belongs to a keyhole, automatically going back to the plot point from earlier on with the rock and indicating that was very, very important. So here we go. This part right here had my intrigue skyrocket beyond already the interesting characters in both Kotobiki and with the professor, beyond the already interesting concept and beyond the already great beginning. Then you hit me with this bombshell. The theory that 100,000 years ago, civilization more advanced than our own existed where Yokohama stands today, and that ancient city still slumbers deep in this cave. And you're like, 100,000 years ago, humans? And the same city, like, wait, what? So then I'm confuzzled. I'm confuzzled. So then, we continue. And then he says that, you know, the key to your discovery, or your, the discovery that you made earlier is the key to what we need to do right now. And what I love about this is that this is already setting up that she has, even though she did it unintentionally, it could very well set up the plot point later on that she has like that, that inner, I don't want to say inner talent because it's not really a talent, but it's that thing inside of you where you pick something up and it just happens to be, I guess luck, where you have like that archaeologist's luck of just finding something that is valuable, that finding something that is rare, finding something that is beast, or like a like one of those metal detectors. And that's the way that she's. I can see that plot point already being introduced later on the line because she happened to find this thing, you know? So then we continue on. The keyhole's down there. It just has them flying. More comedy. Just I really love already the interactions between these two. So then here we go. Going back into the history thing right here, man. And I'm going through the whole chapter because it excited me that much, man. I really enjoyed this first chapter. So here we go. So you've learned as much from your mother's history. Your mother found happiness through marriage, so you'll go that route too. Your mother's a good cook, so you think that'll pan out for you as well. You're applying your mother's history to your own life without even realizing it. Okay, you can't call that history though. Sure you can. History is not just about ancient times. It's about what people have done. And you're like, that's facts. That's straight facts. And everything we can learn from those actions. That is a highly factual statement. And it even, you know, took me and made me really get taken aback at my own decisions in life and my love for history. And I was like, is my love for history really why I tend to learn from others' mistakes? Like, I never really thought about it that way. I never, ever thought about it that way because everything that I watch on television or everything that I read in my manga, in my books, or in whatever the case may be, I always learn from the mistakes of those, not even just from those in my life, but from those in the stories that I read or from the stories that I experience. I've always taken a lot of that to heart. So, you know, learning from even those very histories, the histories of those that don't even exist, have served as life lessons for me. So, is that connected to my love for history? It just made me think about that in a different manner than I'd ever thought of before, you know. And it was a really cool line because it was an eye opener for me. I can only imagine how much it would be an eye opener for Kotobuki in this situation. You know, thinking the history is all about ancient stuff throughout your entire life, when in actuality it's about what people have done. That's such a sick line. History is about what people have done. You're making history every single day as long as you do something. I love it. Love it. Never thought about it that way. I was using history, huh? And you already see that she's already interested. She's like, yeah. So here we go. They get to the keyhole. And then she ends up opening it. They open it right here. It turns out to be an elevator. That shocked me by itself. I thought it was going to be a door that, like Narnia. You know, lots of Narnia stuff. They're going to go through the door. But in actuality, they do not. It's a control panel. They go right through, the chamber starts falling, and it's actually an elevator to the ancient city. It's ancient city. So here we go, an elevator from 100,000 years ago, and it's still being powered somehow. What was unearthed in Yokohama Station must have been a part of some skyscraper, which could mean we're on our way to the ancient city itself. And it shows a little diagram of their current location going all the way down to the ancient city, which is below them. And she starts questioning, like, what? The ancient city is actually real? We go down, and then they start walking through what appears to be Yokohama, you know, what it was back 100,000 years ago. And you're like, yo, is this actually factual? Like, you as a viewer, like, you don't have to look at it from Kotobuki's eyes. Like, Kotobuki and you, and as a viewer, you're basically experiencing this through the same type of eyes. I'm trying to think of another series that does this very, very well, that unravels the mystery through the eyes of the protagonist. I know there's one series. Oh man, regardless, it's the hype from this is carrying it from my other stuff. But so we're just like her. We're like, what? Like, so this thing actually existed again 100,000 years ago? So then what is it? How does it exist now? How does it 2018 now? But it was 2022 back then. So then we continue. This is right here. How are we back in your home? Did we warp? And this is right here. These are sweet ruins. And you see that he's in another character quirk. He is going down. And this place is lit up thanks to bioluminescent bacteria. Could mean a little photovoltaic action going on here. And it goes right here. Behold the ancient city from 100,000 years in the past. Here we go. And then it goes to a flashback of what she heard. Behold the truth of this world. Ruins of Yokohama Minato Mirai District. And you see a whole bunch of stuff below them, yo, of what actually looks like something that we live in today, all below this city. And she has the same reaction as all of us. How on earth? How on earth, dog? And you're just like, bro. So then you continue. Splendid. Just as the geologists speculated, all of Yokohama Minato Mirai was buried here 100,000 years ago. And you know, she's extremely shook. Time for the next lesson. Mirai, my dear, do you know what year it is? And I love this part so much. Do you know what year it is? What kind of question is that? It's 2018, of course. Right, we were all so convinced of that. But in reality, the year is about 100,000 AD. And then it just automatically takes you all out of it. Took me out of everything that I'd ever known, because as you guys know, I'm a massive Evangelion tard. That is my series. That is my series, man. So every single time that there's an impact happened, it's like as if the world or at least that's my theory. Or it's not really my theory. It's a theory that's a popular theory for us Evangelion fans, that the Evangelion universe is actually looped. Like the rebuilds are actually a loop of what happens after End of Eva. So with that being said, well, that's just a theory. Well, that's just a theory once again. But I do believe in the looping theory. So whenever I saw this, I was like, wait a minute. The moment I saw that the year is about 100,000 AD, I thought back. Well, if we said that's 100,000 years ago, that means that there must have been some sort of thing that ended the world back then and caused the world to start over. And if that's the case, then it goes with the loop. It caused the world to start over and for everyone to go through the same exact thing as they had gone through the first time. The world ended and caused them to start and continue on and go over. But the ruins of that old world still remain today. And I was just like, flying birds. I love it. I love it, bro. I love it. As a conspiracy nut, as a fan of Eva, like I was just like, I'm taking it all in. I'm taking it all in, man. It's amazing. I love it. When I read that line, I was just marking out, because I just immediately knew that the world ended. I immediately knew the world ended and everything reset and it went in a loop. Immediately. That's the first thing that came to mind. Those living their everyday lives would never be the wiser. But 100,000 years ago in 2022 AD, all of humanity was wiped out. And it just makes you think, it's like, how was it wiped out? I want that flashback. All this in one chapter, guys. All this in one chapter. It's taking us 100,000 years to loop back to this point. The second round of humanity. Second impact. Second round of humanity. Second round? Yeah, start of civilization, the Renaissance and Industrial Revolution, the Second World War. From what we can tell, those first humans from 100,000 years ago experienced the same historical events. And literally a loop. And then he says everything that's on our minds. How did the old humans die out? Where did we, the new humans, come from? Why are we caught in this loop? It's all still a total mystery, which is why I delve. What I need to do in order, to do so are notes. Looks from the year 2022 when humanity went extinct to us in 2018. For us who repeat that history, there are notes from the future. While all this was going down, it didn't even cross my mind of the fact that this is probably going to happen again. So when you brought up that plot point once more, it's what my top secret research is all about, the loop theory. I'm gonna go back over here. In other words, the notes I seek definitely existed on this earth 100,000 years ago. They're an inheritance from the first run of humanity. And so I wrote this for collecting notes and it attempts to solve the mystery of humanity's source, and that's my job. And it's insane. It's like, it's insane because, like I said before, it's like I was living it through Kotobiki as well, because even though I was absorbing all this, I didn't really you know, grasp the matter at hand. It states, pay attention, history is looping up until now going forward. And unless we figure out how the first run of humanity met its doom, unless we determine how they might have avoided that fate then in the next iteration of 2022, 4 years from now, then humanity will once again be destroyed. Man, yo, and that's his, and then he states, I'll pin down the cause of that past destruction and stop history from repeating itself. That's my mission as an archaeologist. And then the chapter ends in the same way it started. And I was like, bro, for what I love in stories, this could not have been a better first chapter. Like, I'm hooked. I want more. I want more, man. I loved it. I love the introduction of the conspiracies. I love the concept of archaeology. I love the concept of history. I love how it turned into a story between an archaeologist and a high school girl who hates history, but now she's taking on this mission and she'll end up loving history, automatically showing as a lesson to those kids over there in Japan or over here in America who read this for the first time and they despise history. It'll give them like a brand new idea of history and what it actually is, you know, and why us history nuts really do love history, and I love that type of stuff, man. But you know, when the loop theory thing came up, I was like, yo, man, this story is gonna be gold. Because the 100,000 years, it really caught me off guard. Really caught me off guard. I love that plot point, man. It just means that everything was wiped out, and it's another loop happened. Now they have to stop the loop from happening, and just like he said, we now to find out that history is it. That's why we must continue reading, and that's what the beginning of the chapter is so good, because the beginning of the chapter shows us that she herself will grow. She will grow to love this. But how will we get there? What mysteries will we find? What will happen to the world? When is she writing it? I don't know. But I can't wait to find out more. Noah's Notes. I will be reading this every week. I probably won't be doing videos like that often. It's not going to be a series I'll live react to. This seems like a type of series that I want to discuss and really tear apart, because it's my thing. These are my things, man. History, conspiracies, that's my thing. That's my thing. So, y'all have an awesome day. Noah's Notes is definitely a series that I will be following. Viz, keep this in your thing. I'll be subscribed to Viz for this series, even though I'm subscribed to read One Piece legally and whatnot. But I will subscribe for this, man. I promise. I will keep that subscription going for Noah's Notes, man. This series is fun. This is my type of series, and I can't wait for more, man. But I'll see y'all next time. Have an awesome day before my battery runs out, because I'm like at 3% right now. If you're not reading this right now and you read this, I apologize for spoiling you, but read Noah's Notes. So read Noah's Notes, man. I know we're not all the same, and I don't know if you have the same taste as me, but Flagnards, if you do, read Noah's Notes. I cannot wait to go on this journey with Kotobiki and the professor, man.